You didn't buy a bad car. You bought a popular car, one that everyone said was reliable, and for the first few years, it probably was. But then it crossed 100,000 miles. And suddenly, the small problems stopped being small. Repair bills showed up you never planned for. The car still drives, but owning it doesn't feel the same anymore. Today, we're looking at 10 cars Americans regret buying after 100,000 miles. Not because they're terrible cars, but because nobody tells you what really happens after that point. Let's get into it. Number 10, Chevrolet Equinox, model years 2010 to 2017. This one usually catches people off guard because the Chevrolet Equinox was never bought as an exciting car. It was bought as a safe decision, a practical SUV, comfortable, affordable, easy to live with. And for the first few years, most owners are genuinely happy. The regret doesn't start early. It starts right around 100,000 miles. Here's what happens. Up to that point, the Equinox feels manageable. Oil changes, brakes, tires, nothing unusual. But once mileage climbs, problems stop showing up one at a time. They show up together. Timing chain noise, oil consumption that suddenly gets worse, transmission issues that start as small hesitations and don't stay small. None of these problems sound catastrophic on their own. That's the trap. Because once you start fixing one thing, another one pops up right behind it. And here's where the regret really kicks in. These repairs don't make the car better. They don't increase its value. They just keep it running. Owners often realize they're spending thousands of dollars on a vehicle that's already worth less every month. Most people don't hate the Equinox. They just didn't expect it to become this demanding. Right after crossing 100,000 miles, and when a practical SUV starts feeling like a constant project, that's when regret sets in. And unfortunately, the next one is even more common on American roads. Number 9, Ford Escape, model years 2013 to 2019. This is one a lot of owners defend. At first, because the Ford Escape does many things right. It is easy to drive, fuel efficient, practical for daily life. For a long time, it feels like a smart buy, and then it passes 100,000 miles. The regret usually does not start with one big failure. It starts with uncertainty, small warning signs, rough idle, cooling issues that come and go, a check engine light that does not want to stay off. On many of these Escapes, especially with the smaller turbo engines, heat becomes the enemy. Turbochargers begin to wear. Cooling systems struggle more than expected. And once overheating issues start, they rarely stay small. Here is the part owners did not plan for. These problems are not cheap to fix, but the vehicle itself is no longer worth much more than the repairs. That creates a bad situation. You either spend serious money on a compact SUV that is already depreciating fast, or you live with a car you no longer fully trust. A lot of owners say the same thing about the Ford Escape. It was great until it was not. And once reliability feels uncertain, every drive becomes a question mark. And the next car on this list is one almost everyone has seen on the road. Number 8, Nissan Altima, model years 2013 to 2018. This one hurts because it looks like the safe choice. The Nissan Altima is everywhere in the United States. Affordable, comfortable, good fuel economy. For many buyers, it feels like the responsible decision. And for a while it is, until it crosses 100,000 miles. That is where the regret usually begins. The issue most owners talk about is not cosmetic. It is not comfort, it is trust. The continuously variable transmission, the CVT, often starts showing problems right around this mileage range. At first, it feels minor. Delayed acceleration, strange noises, a feeling that the car is not responding the way it used to. Then it gets worse. Here is the real problem. When the transmission starts failing, the cost to fix it often comes close to, or even exceeds, the value of the car itself. That puts owners in a corner. Do you spend thousands of dollars on a mid-size sedan that is already depreciated, or do you sell it and take the loss? Many Altima owners choose the same option. They drive it carefully, they hope it lasts, and they start planning their exit. The regret does not come from hating the car, it comes from realizing that one major repair can end the ownership experience completely. Number 7, Jeep Grand Cherokee, model years 2011 to 2018. This is one people buy with their heart. The Jeep Grand Cherokee looks solid. It feels premium, comfortable seats, strong road presence. For many owners, it feels like an upgrade. And for the first years, it usually is. The regret starts creeping in after 100,000 miles. The problem with the Grand Cherokee is not just one thing, it is complexity. More electronics, more comfort systems, more features that can fail over time. Owners often start dealing with electrical issues first. Sensors, warning lights, systems that work one day and not the next. Then come the bigger problems: air suspension failures on certain trims, transmission concerns, cooling issues that show up without much warning. Here is where ownership changes. Repairs are no longer simple. They are expensive, time-consuming, and often require specialist labor. And the worst part is this: the Grand Cherokee still feels nice to drive, but every new noise, every new warning light comes with anxiety. Many owners say the same thing. They love how it drives. They hate what it costs to keep it that way. After 100,000 miles, the Grand Cherokee stops feeling like an upgrade and starts feeling like a financial risk. And the next car on this list is 1 million Americans bought as a budget-friendly choice. Number 6, Ford Focus, model years 2012 to 2016. This is one that disappointed a lot of people quietly. The Ford Focus was bought as a smart, affordable daily car. Easy to drive, good fuel economy, low entry price. For many owners, it felt like the responsible choice, and for a while it was, until it crossed 100,000 miles. That is when frustration usually replaces confidence. The issue most owners talk about is not the engine, it is the transmission, shuddering when pulling away, jerky shifts, hesitation in traffic. At first, people think it is minor, maybe software, maybe a small fix, but it rarely stays that way. As mileage increases, the transmission problems tend to get worse, not better. Here is where regret really sets in. Owners spend money trying to fix symptoms, not the root problem. Updates, repairs, clutch-related work. And yet the car never feels quite right again. The worst part is not just the cost, it is the loss of trust. When a simple commute becomes unpredictable, the ownership experience changes completely. Many Ford Focus owners say the same thing. The car itself was fine. Living with it after 100,000 miles was not. Number 5, Chevrolet Cruze, model years 2011 to 2018. This is one people bought because it looked like a smart deal. The Chevrolet Cruze was affordable, fuel efficient, modern looking for its time. For many buyers, it felt like a lot of car for the money, and early on, it usually delivered. The regret starts showing up after 100,000 miles. The problem with the Cruze is not one single failure, it is accumulation. Cooling system issues, turbo-related problems on certain engines, sensors and electronics that begin to fail one after another. Each repair on its own does not seem disastrous. That is how owners get trapped. Because once mileage climbs, the visits to the repair shop become more frequent and the costs start stacking up fast. Here is the part that frustrates owners the most. The car still feels like basic transportation, but the repair bills stop feeling basic. At this point, many owners realize something uncomfortable. They are investing real money into a car that will never be worth much on the used market. The Chevrolet Cruze is rarely hated. It is simply outgrown by its problems. After 100,000 miles, ownership starts to feel like constant maintenance, not dependable transportation. Number 4, BMW 3 Series, model years 2012 to 2018. This is the one many people thought they were finally upgrading to. The BMW 3 Series feels different from the start. Tighter handling, better interior, more confidence behind the wheel. For many buyers, it feels like stepping into something premium. And under 100,000 miles, that feeling is usually real. The regret shows up after that milestone. The issue with the BMW 3 Series is not reliability in the short term. It is ownership reality in the long term. As mileage climbs, maintenance stops being optional and starts becoming mandatory. Oil leaks begin to show up. Cooling system components wear out. Electrical issues become more common. None of this feels shocking for a luxury car. What surprises owners is how quickly it adds up. Here is where the regret sets in. Every repair costs more than expected. Not because the car is bad, but because everything about it is built to a higher standard, including labor costs. At the same time, the resale value keeps dropping. Owners often realize they are paying luxury-level repair bills for a car that no longer feels financially premium to own. Most people still enjoy driving the BMW 3 Series. They just do not enjoy paying for it anymore. After 100,000 miles, the driving experience stays strong, but the ownership experience becomes exhausting. Number 3, Ford F-150, model years 2011 to 2017. This one hits hard because of how common it is. The Ford F-150 is not just a truck. It is the most owned vehicle in the United States. People buy it because it feels unstoppable, strong, capable, built for work and everyday life, and up to a point, it absolutely delivers. The regret usually starts showing up after 100,000 miles. The issue with the F-150 is not that it suddenly becomes unreliable, it is that problems become expensive very fast. On many of these trucks, especially with turbocharged engines, owners start dealing with timing-related issues. Turbo wear, transmission concerns that show up under load. At first, the truck still runs. It still works. That is what makes the decision harder. Here is where ownership changes. Truck repairs are not car repairs. Everything costs more. Parts are larger. Labor takes longer. A repair that would feel manageable on a sedan suddenly becomes a serious financial decision. Many owners say the same thing. They still love the truck. They just did not expect ownership to get this costly this fast. After 100,000 miles, the Ford F-150 stops feeling like a tough, worry-free tool and starts feeling like a responsibility you have to plan around. Number 2, Hyundai Sonata, model years 2011 to 2019. This is one people bought because it felt like the safe, modern choice. The Hyundai Sonata looked like a smart move. Good design, comfortable ride, strong warranty. For many buyers, it felt like reliability without the high price. And for a while, that promise held up. The regret usually begins after 100,000 miles. The issue with the Hyundai Sonata is not gradual wear. It is uncertainty. On many of these models, engine problems begin without much warning. Sudden loss of power, knocking noises, warning lights that lead to serious diagnoses. Here is what makes this so frustrating for owners. The car can feel perfectly fine one week and suddenly become undrivable the next. Repairs are not small, and in some cases, owners face long wait times, unclear outcomes, and a vehicle that is worth far less than the repair itself. That creates stress most people never plan for. Many Sonata owners say the same thing. They bought the car for peace of mind. They ended up worrying more than expected. After 100,000 miles, the Hyundai Sonata stops feeling predictable. And when predictability is gone, regret takes its place. Number 1. Nissan Rogue, model years 2014 to 2020. This one creates more regret than almost any other car on this list. Not because it is rare, but because it is everywhere. The Nissan Rogue is one of the most popular SUVs in the United States. Affordable, practical, easy to live with. For many families, it felt like the safest possible choice, and for a while it usually is, until it crosses 100,000 miles. That is when ownership often takes a sharp turn. The problem most owners face is not comfort or fuel economy, it is confidence. The continuously variable transmission, the CVT, starts showing issues that are hard to ignore. Slipping, delayed response, a feeling that the vehicle is no longer doing what you ask it to do. At first, owners try to manage it, drive gently, and avoid hard acceleration, hope it holds on. But here's the hard truth. When the transmission fails, the cost to repair or replace it often comes dangerously close to the value of the vehicle itself. That is where regret fully sets in. Owners are forced to make a decision they never expected to face with a practical family SUV. Do you invest thousands of dollars into a vehicle that is already heavily depreciated, or do you walk away and accept the loss? Many Nissan Rogue owners choose the same path. They sell it, they trade it, they move on sooner than planned. Not because they hated the car, but because keeping it no longer made financial sense. The Nissan Rogue did everything right at the beginning. That is what makes the regret so strong. After 100,000 miles, it stops feeling like a smart, stress-free choice and starts feeling like a risk. If there is one thing to take away from this list, it is this. Most regret does not come from buying a bad car. It comes from buying a car without understanding what ownership looks like after 100,000 miles. These cars did not fail overnight. They slowly became more expensive, more demanding, and harder to justify keeping. And that is the part most reviews never talk about. At The Car Truth, we are not here to tell you what to love or what to hate. We are here to show you what breaks, what it really costs, and which cars actually make sense long-term. If you want to protect your wallet, before the repair bills start piling up, make sure you subscribe to The Car Truth. Because the test drive is easy. Ownership is where the truth shows up.